You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And a good day, everyone. Great, as always, to have you here. 6 minutes past the hour. I am your host, Randall White. This is the Market Fresh Hour. Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, California's #1 place to talk about our state's food and beverage scene with, as always, a local, seasonal, and sustainable focus. And we like to put you in touch with who's making your food, where it comes from, and then also give you some tips when it comes to the kitchen or when it comes to the grocery store or the farmer's market, wherever you may most likely shop. So later on today's program, we are learning some of the secrets to successfully financing a small farm. Our show often talks about the family-run operations here in California, those producing organic, pesticide-free, unique foods and artisanal products. But starting and sustaining one of these operations can be a struggle for the pocketbook at times, as you can imagine. Our guest is an expert in this area and can help you with some ways to find money where you didn't know it existed for financing a small farm. Then during our farmers market segment, we're headed to one of the 3 oldest still operating markets in the state. And not only is it still operating, but it is thriving beyond expectations. We'll talk with the market manager about why he thinks this once little tiny market is doing so well. But first up this hour, it's the moment in the show when we feature a little how-to in the kitchen and when shopping. Our guest today is a very well-known cookbook author and teaches, well, I'm going to say beachfront cooking classes along the Gaviota Coast in Santa Barbara County. Brigit Binns is the author of the new Wine Country Cookbook, Recipes from California's Central Coast, and is in charge of the farm-to-table venue at this weekend's Sunset Savor the Central Coast. So head up to Santa Margarita Ranch and see her. If you don't have plans to do so already, you're quickly running out of time. In just a moment, she'll be teaching us how to make salads with substance. But right now, we just simply want to welcome her to the program. Brigit Binns, welcome back.
It is so much fun to be back with you again, Randall.
Now, last time you were in studio with us, and that was a lot of fun. This time, you're on the go. You're so busy that we caught up with you via cell phone because you are doing a lot at Sunset Savor this year.
I'm super excited. I'm actually hosting the farm-to-table demonstrations, also signing my books, my cookbooks, and we have an amazing lineup of guests and subjects. I know that sounds trite, but seriously, I am so passionate about this, and I know you are too. We've got people from Clark Staub of Full of Life Flatbread down in Los Alamos, who I think of as the California flatbread guru. We actually have Sandra Lee making some garden fresh cocktails. I mean, the lineup is amazing.
That flatbread place is one of my favorite haunts. My problem is I never seem to pass it at the right time because you have to.
Well, that is a problem. The opening times are a little, but that's because he makes flatbreads there for various Whole Foods and other markets during the day. It's a production facility, and then he closes it down and makes it into one of the hottest restaurants on the Central Coast on weekend evenings and also Thursdays.
Yeah, we should let people know that are not familiar with Full of Life Flatbreads. It's in the little tiny town of Los Alamos there in northern Santa Barbara County, and it is a full-blown production facility during the week, and then they move out a lot of the equipment and those sorts of things, and the place literally transforms and becomes this quaint little restaurant where you can get some of the best farm-to-table flatbread pizzas you're ever going to have, paired with Central Coast wines, and people travel all the way up from Malibu on any given Friday and Saturday night just to eat there and enjoy some of the best fare around. So that's just...
It is. Yeah, you're right, Randall, and I think it's a very important place for us on the Central Coast. And he's not going to be flying under the radar for long because he's opening in Santa Barbara shortly as well. But he's like this Alice Waters of the Central Coast.
Yeah,
he's so passionate. He encourages his local people, and he actually helped me with my cookbook, the new Wine Country Cookbook. He is a big participant, and it introduced me to a lot of the purveyors that I profiled in the book.
And so your classes that you teach there along the Gaviota Coast are an extension of your cookbook and your beliefs when it comes to farm to table.
Well, they absolutely are, but one small correction, I'm in Paso Robles. I did call it Refugio, which is named after Refugio Beach, but I'm not down in Gaviota.
Oh, I'm so glad you corrected that. I'm sorry, Brigit.
That's okay. I spent a lot of time at the Hollister Ranch when I was a kid, and so that name, Refugio, means a great deal to me. And I named my cooking classes after it, but we are in Paso Robles.
Oh, well, that's perfect for people visiting wine country because you do a lot of pairing when it comes to the foods you produce.
Well, this last class, Salads with Substance, that we're going to talk about, and it really fits right in with everything that you like to do as well. I had Tablas Creek pouring the wines, and I was so honored to have them come along. But it's a challenge, Salad is not the easiest thing to pair wine with, and he brought along their Vermentino and their Viognier and their Rosé, and we mixed and matched them with our 3 salads that we created, and it was fantastic. It was eye-opening for everybody in the class and me and the chef who taught the class.
So here's the deal. That class was last Saturday, but because Brigit's on the show today, you're going to get those salads with substance tips that she handed out at her class coming up in the next segment. In the meantime, I will do my best not to interrupt you. You were telling me of all the great things going on at SAVOR, and I stopped you right after flatbread because I got so excited.
Well, I don't blame you. I'm excited about it too. But and let's see, it's 4 days event. It is one of the nation's premier wine and food events. I mean, we're talking on a level with the Aspen Food and Wine Festival. This is so exciting for us to have this in this area. And have you ever been to Santa Margarita Ranch?
I have. It's a very unique location.
It's a special place. It's a truly special place in our county, undiscovered corner, soon, being more and more discovered every day. And it's full of winemakers, farmers, artisan purveyors, and everybody that's committed to working with the most flavorful ingredients and the freshest in the right seasons. The garden there, every year they create this garden that is an eye-opener. I mean, it's just going to make you want to run right home and start growing things.
Well, anyone who's a regular reader of Sunset Magazine, which I grew up in a Sunset household, and now as an adult, I get the magazine as well, knows how creative the Sunset folks are. So if you can imagine, they're let loose on this ranch in the spring, even earlier than that, I believe, in the winter, to create this garden that comes to fruition just in time for Savor the Central Coast. All right, I hear the music playing, Brigit, so that means we're heading into the commercial break right now, and we will be back in just a moment. Brigit's going to give us her salads with substance tips in just a moment here on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. Back in just a moment. And welcome back to the program, everyone. Great to have you here. 19 minutes past the hour. I am your host, Randall White, and you are listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh Hour. Today, we are featuring in our how-to segment author Brigit Binns of the new Wine Country Cookbook, Recipes from California's Central Coast. She joins us with some tips on, long gone are the days of just a salad with, some tomatoes that are out of season, iceberg lettuce, and that sort of thing. We are talking salads that are full meals. And Brigit joins us right now to talk a little bit about that and some tips from her class that just passed, the last one of the season. that she teaches in Paso Robles. And I imagine you have a whole new season coming up with exciting things as well, Brigit.
We do. I can't wait for the next season because we'll have a much larger facility. At the moment, we've been teaching the classes in the outdoor kitchen, which is fantastic, and we've done lots of flatbread and pizza and et cetera. But having a real kitchen, I think we'll all be a lot more comfortable, and we can do things that require ovens as well. I mean, regular ovens and cooktop, et cetera, and refrigeration. So that will be very fun. But in this last class, my guest chef was Jill Davey, who is on Fine Living Network and Food Network all the time, old friend of mine. And she's always had a passion for salads. And she was visiting me, and she put something together. And all my friends said, wow, I never thought of putting those sort of things into a salad before. And that was where I got the idea to let's do salads with substance. And we went to Templeton's Farmers Market, Jill and I, in the morning, loaded up a cart full of stuff and came back and created these 3 salads that kind of sum up everything that I like, that is this huge potential of just looking at the market and saying, okay, but let's make this into a meal. None of these measly little leaves, you know?
Right. And so the plan is to take some of the fresh produce that you can get at the market and combine it with protein sources and that sort of thing?
Well, we had 3 salads, and I'm just going to run through the ingredients of all 3 of them very quickly. The first one was a raw salad, and I don't know that it would call that a full. You might need to add either some legumes, grains, or protein to that to make it a full, very filling meal. But we had kale, baby zucchini, raw beets, sliced peaches, avocado, purple carrots, almonds, and oranges. So you've got a little protein in there with your nuts, and you've certainly got a lot of creaminess with that avocado. So this is a filling salad. It definitely hits the spot.
Brigit, I've never had a raw beet before. That must have a very earthy taste.
It has a slight astringency, and so you definitely want to coat it with that dressing. In our dressing for that salad was lemon juice and zest, rice wine vinegar, very gentle, minced shallot, garlic, olive oil, and, of course, sea salt and pepper. And it was beautiful.
I've stopped buying dressings at the store. I now almost exclusively make my own because they just sing with flavor.
I can't imagine. Well, somebody must buy them, but why anyone would ever buy a bottled dressing? And I do want to say very quickly, the ratio is crucial. And once you understand the ratio of oil to vinegar, then there is no need to ever wonder whether your dressing will taste good, because it does. And it's as simple as 1 part vinegar to approximately 3 parts olive oil. Sometimes the French tend to go a bit heavier on the olive oil, and you'll eventually figure out what that is. But say a tablespoon of fabulous vinegar, a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and then you whisk it together with a little bit of Dijon mustard. It will emulsify and be so gorgeous. And you can play those vinegars and oils like a musical instrument. You can say, oh, well, I'm going to have walnut oil, so I think I'll have raspberry vinegar. Or I'm going to have sherry vinegar, so I think maybe I'll try a little bit of pistachio oil mixed in with my olive oil. And as long as you keep the ratio, it's going to be delicious every time. You don't need a recipe for that.
I just wrote down the ratio because I'm not using that same ratio. I go too heavy on the vinegar, so I need to start upping the amount of olive oil. And I have had complaints about that. What I did, what I did, Brigit, is I've started to add a little bit of honey to the mixture, and that sort of balanced out the astringency of the vinegar, but I guess upping the oil content does the same thing.
It would, and if you don't want sweetness in there, then you don't have the sweetness. But you can also add, sometimes it's fun to add a little bit of actual sherry or some pomegranate molasses that you can get at any health food store or Middle Eastern, well-stocked market. Just say a 1/2 teaspoon of pomegranate molasses gives it a fruity thing, but it's not sweet. So that's another way you can play your vinaigrettes like a musical instrument.
I like that. I like the pomegranates, of course, almost exclusively grown in California. Brigit, let's talk about 3 salads, right? You talked about the first one, which was a raw salad. Let's move into salad number 2.
Salad number 2, behind door number 2, it's a grain salad. And for our grain, we use the sometimes known as Israeli couscous or pearl pasta. It's like little couscous except fatter and bigger and more toothsome. And so that was the base, which we just simmered that with water and turmeric, so it was a lovely color, and some onions in there as well. And then folded that nice loose couscous with teensy-weensy little tomatoes from the market, sugar snap peas, sliced yellow and orange bell peppers, feta cheese, chopped green onion, and then we scattered mizuna over and around the top of that.
What's mizuna?
Mizuna is a frilly leaf that you will get in the same place you get all of the salad greens.
Is it a little bit bitter?
A tiny bit bitter.
Yeah. Okay, I've had that.
Yeah. Ooh, I guess it made a big impression.
You did. Sometimes I have to ask about the $3 words. I'm never sure. I'm like, okay, wait, what is that? I know I've eaten a lot of things. I've eaten too many things, but sometimes I don't know the names. So when you say toothsome for the couscous, that means chewy?
That means chewy, yeah. That's my fancy way of saying chewy.
Yeah.
It's a nice texture. It's a really pleasant texture. I find it much more appealing than the tiny little couscous that has gets to feel a bit mushy.
That sounds delicious. So I think we have enough time now for salad number 3.
Excellent. Well, salad number 3, we get into some serious protein here. We poached some wild California salmon in just a usual poaching mixture of sliced lemons and bay leaves and a little leek tops of parsley and some wine and a little olive oil. And just until it was barely opaque all the way through to the center. And then we roasted some eggplant coins. Basically, you slice eggplant crosswise about half an inch thick. Do not season it. And just toss it with olive oil, 375 oven for 20 to 25 minutes, and then afterwards you season it. And they're quite crisp. I mean, it's not like a chip, but it's definitely not soggy.
And you call it an eggplant coin. I like that. I always do something wrong with the eggplant and it gets mushy.
Yes, well, this is the solution. You toss it with olive oil to make sure every side of every coin is thoroughly coated on a sheet pan in a single layer. 375, 20 to 25 minutes, and they are not mushy at all. They're quite substantial, but still tender when you bite into them. And so now this is what we call an arranged salad. So we have our pieces of poached salmon, blanched green beans, which is 6 minutes in boiling salted water, and then you shock them in ice water to keep them nice and green, and sliced cucumbers, slivered red onion, beet greens, basil, and then we topped it with a little tzatziki, which is that Greek thing with the yogurt and garlic.
It sounds delicious. Everyone can get much more information by going to your website, which is Brigit Binns, and that's BrigitBinns.com. Brigit, you are such a joy. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thank you so much, Randall. Had a great time.
She's the best. All right, everyone, go see her at Savor the Central Coast, savorcentralcoast.com.